Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Once again, my name is Craig, and I'm here today, and we're going to be talking about the importance of. This is a family meeting, and so today we're going to be talking about how addiction impacts. Let me get it. Let me put it right. Let me make it right. And so, is that it? All right. So that's what it says. How addiction impacts the family stages of progression. And so we're going to be talking about 6 phases of addiction as a family affliction. And so let's get right into it. And so the article talks about addiction doesn't discriminate, and having a cohesive, loving family background doesn't exclude someone from becoming an addict. While it can be difficult to understand how someone ends up in the throes of addiction with such a positive and supportive family, or how a family can end up in the place of cutting the addict off. Understanding addiction as a family affliction can provide some insights. All right. And so while every individual and family dynamic is different, addiction follows a common pattern. Here are the 6 stages of family addiction and the role family members commonly attempt to take on each stage. The first one talks about denial. It says denial. This stage is exactly what it sounds like. The family members try to deny that the chemically dependent individuals, CDI, has a problem and may start by initially just trying to ignore the addiction completely. All right? And so denial has a big part in it. So there are usually attempts to hide the addiction from people within the family, but also from people in the outside world. Family members might be concerned about what outside people will think about the family, such as what must those parents have done to raise a child like that, and might experience intense feelings of embarrassment. In this state, the family will usually gladly accept the CDI reason for using drugs or drinking and will only react to inappropriate, whatever that may mean for that family dynamic, drug use. So as you can see, the article talks about there is a denial within the family of other family members knowing, and denial of outside, because we don't want people to know so and so may have a problem. So we might feel embarrassed. And so the second phase of it would be we will probably work on home treatment. Right. And so this stage happens when the addiction has progressed to the point that denial is no longer an option. The family might begin to try to get the CDI, which is also known as chemically dependent individuals, to stop using. Common tactics family members take at this point are to nag or threaten the addict about what would happen if they don't stop. Family might try to sympathize with the addict as a way to establish common ground and push them toward quitting drug or alcohol use. During this stage, the family members might start to show signs of the emotional aspect of living with an addict. They often start isolating themselves from friends and activity, experience an increase in fear of people finding out and blame themselves for the addict's problem. Children in these situations might start acting out in response to the family's stress, and a spouse or significant other might take on a moral role. At this point, the total focus of the family is on addiction. All right? So it boils down to first, the family deals with denial. Now the family is might try to get the CDI, chemically dependent individual, to stop using, right? By isolating themselves from the person with the problem. So let's see what the third phase talks about. Third phase talks about the chaos. All right. It says when the family gets to this stage, it's impossible to deny or hide the addiction. The family is often existing from crisis to crisis, just trying to survive. The family members might start trying to directly control the addiction by throwing out drugs or alcohol, right? It says moving from one crisis to the other, right? Isolating themselves, now coming to the point of throwing out the alcohol or drug. There's a general feeling of skepticism and hopelessness. The spouse in this stage might start avoiding sexual contact with the addict. So, so the spouse may find themselves don't want to be bothered when it comes to intimacy, right? That is, then it says feeling caught between the loyalty to their children and their spouse. They could also start to question their own sanity. It's common at this stage for the family to seek outside help through programs like Al-Anon, Nar-Anon, Alcohol Anon, Narcotics Anon, right? And so the fourth one talks about attempts to reorganize. By this point, the spouse or another family member, in the case of an unmarried addict, has taken on most of the family responsibilities, and the addict is eased out of family roles and takes on more of a childlike role. And so, as you can see, if there's a spouse issue going on and one of the spouses under the influence of some type of alcohol or narcotic or drug addiction, so now the role has been reversed, and so now one is taking on more responsibility as opposed on shared responsibilities, right? Family members might start threatening to separate from the addict and begin to feel a love and hate conflict in the relationship. Adult family members start to gain more independence, and children are the focus of many decisions. It's important to understand that these stages aren't always linear, and this stage in particular can be repeated several times, or the family might stay in this stage for a while before moving on. There's a cycle that's going on. It can be repeated before moving on. So the fifth one we talked about reorganization without the addict. This stage happens when the family finally cuts the addict off, cut the family out of their lives, and decide to move on without them. This is the point where the family stop enabling the addict. All right. This is the point, the very crucial and vital, where they went through the first four, but now they're at the point of reorganization without the addict, whereas they no longer become codependent or enabling the addict. While this stage holds many positive options for the family, including continued movements towards independence and a change in codependent behavior, it's important to recognize that these positive steps usually only come with outside help and a strong commitment to change behaviors. Family members who don't get outside help may find themselves cycling back to old patterns when the addict escalates or hit that rock bottom phase. And last but not least is the sixth one, recovery and reconciliation. Reconciliation, it says, while this stage may be seen as the end goal, it's often one of the longest phases in the cycle. It can be an ongoing process for years, depending on the family dynamic, events surrounding the addiction, and the severity of the addiction. At this point, family therapy comes into play with a focus on reunification and learning new ways to respond to each other. So now it took on the role of or accepted the role of a professional come in to assist to make things right, because a lot of times if we try to do it on our own, we can be doing more harm than good. All right. It says changing patterns of behavior and the family dynamics can be very difficult. So it can take months to years and may include some setbacks along the way. All right. You may find yourself experiencing some setbacks because we don't always get it right the first time. It's important that family members seek help through an outside source to work through this phase and increase the chance of positive outcome. Discussion at this point surround that led to the addiction and the family separation, how to rebuild trust, and how to put the CDI, chemical dependent individual, back into the family dynamic. It can be difficult for the spouse to give up control they develop and be willing to trust and give the CDI, chemical dependent individual, more responsibility. But this is an important part of moving forward. Many families will continue to be part of Al Anon and Nar Anon for the support and help in not reverting to codependent or enabling behavior. Keep in mind that while this is a general outline, the common patterns of addiction as a family affliction is not comprehensive. Many families deal with other factors or go through the stages more slowly or quickly than others. Some even go through them in a different order. And so remember, uh, I am a recovery coach here at Capital Recovery Center. I am not a therapist and I am not a sponsor. And so if you need counseling for that matter, please seek someone with those capability or call. I can link you to those professional people. And so once again, it's been a joy sitting here talking with you. Hope you had a great time. I know I enjoy reading this information and it's very vital because remember, addiction is not an individual problem. It is a family problem because we all are affected. And so once again, my name is Craig. Take care and keep God first in everything you do, and He'll do the rest. Take care.